Hey, oh, Tommy, we have another guest. We have some VIP here tonight. Yes. They must have smelled the food. Yeah, probably. Uh,
Normally, I would
yeah,
say.
so this is the Wednesday night meeting, and the topic is the non-duality. And again, we take it just right out of the definition. Non means not, and duality means two. Yeah. Now, obviously, there's not a duality world. Yes. Yeah. The world isn't duality. The projection of the world is a dualistic projection. Yeah. We, in the subjective experience, see through dualistic lenses. Yeah. The dualism of subject object that gets expanded out here starts where we are sitting. Yeah. So this object, which everyone can perceive, is assumed to be the subject, which is the essence of non-duality. So that subject-object condition projects out, and now you see everything dualistically. You don't see everything dualistically. Everything is dualistic, yeah, in appearance. And then some people get to a point where they start seeing the duality, sort of like when they have a big story about all the things they love to move towards, and then they finally realize that they're actually moving away from something. Yeah. So something's uncomfortable or something's weird. There's a way, and they want to go the opposite direction. They don't, but that's a dualistic movement. Yes. Contraction, expansion, peak experience, big expansion. The next day, the head seems louder than it ever was before. So it contracts. Yeah. And then contracts. It's not choice or volition or happenstance or phenomena. It's mechanical in a way. Yeah. So what goes up comes down, what expands, contracts. You have a breath in, breath out. And here we're sitting in this assumption as the action figure. The action figure represents it. And this is the trick. All the activity of duality that is us, in a sense, there's blood pumps and the heart beats, right? It takes the inhale, exhale. There's all this stuff going on because we see in imagery, in mirrors and everything, that we're a body, a singular body. So we don't see the duality in a sense. Yeah. So we see us as a singularity, but our activity is really dualistic. Yeah. And the essence of it is called dualism, which is subject objectness right here. Yeah. So you can see it. Just take 2 minutes. The head's thinking about you. Yeah, all right. What's that you? It's an object. Yeah, it's that which is being thought about. Yeah. And then a second later, you're the thinker of those thoughts. So now you're the subject. So the head goes subject, object, object, subject, subject, object, object, subject, all hidden, all that movement's hidden by the singularity of the long-lasting, independent, separate entity. Yeah. So it's very, very important that we see things and we don't, quote unquote, see a lot of other stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So if you ever see Japanese art, a lot of it, they try to catch your attention to the space. Yeah. So they'll have a very sparse branch with a couple of leaves, and there's a whole lot of canvas, and they're attempting to sort of trigger a recognition because the programming is we tend to see things at the expense of the space that they're in. Yeah. Like this room. And then if you took this wall down, there wouldn't be a void there, and then it would have to be filled with something. The wall is an appearance in space. It's not taking up any space, literally. Yeah. If you weighed the space now with the wall, it would be the same without the wall, because the wall is an appearance in space. The only place it weighs anything is in this dreaming. Yeah. The same thing, like with time. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you remember a snippet of dreaming where you were taking a big gulp of a Slurpee, let's say. Yeah. And then the next night you wake up and it was a 300-year fucking epic. You know, you had more than 12 reincarnations and all this and all that. How long did it take to wake up from both dreams? The same amount of time. You just woke up. So the 300 years doesn't mean shit when you wake up from it. It doesn't. It's in the context of the dreaming, it has value. Yeah. But when you wake up from the dream, which is a segment of dreaming, it has time in it, yeah? When you wake up from that, the time doesn't matter, does it? You don't have to, it doesn't, I can't go to work until, December. It takes me at least, for every year, at least 5 minutes, 300 years, I got to stay in bed for about a month to wake up. No, time has nothing to do with it, yeah? As an old Peter Murphy song was. Time has nothing to do with it. Look it up. Lead singer of Bauhaus, Peter Murphy. Very good. The old days. So this duality is not found. It's projected. Yes. There's not a world that's dualistic. It's projected. Yeah. The dreaming projects it, and as the dreamt, we perceive it. And the perceiving of it is we just assume it's real. Yeah. So the perceiving of the dreaming is not that it's dreaming, it's real. Yeah. And the way we get out of the dream at night is waking up. Yeah. If that dreaming continued and you never woke up, you could be in that dreaming, thinking someone just, slit your tires or whatever. Yeah. And it would be as real can be. But in this situation, we have a built-in awakening, which is the morning, when people come to, the effects of the dream quickly disintegrate. Yes. Because they were all, the only effects they had was based on us believing it. Yes. Yeah. This is why I think, I could be wrong, but in the Course in Miracles, in some segment of it, they talk about the causeless effect. So where do we have an experience of a causeless effect? At night in dreaming, don't we? I was very anxious and I was sweating and super afraid of that tiger, but it was a dreamt tiger. Yeah, so it was a causeless effect. It was how I saw it was what caused it to have some reality to me. It had no reality to speak of. As soon as I woke up, I wasn't afraid of that tiger, was I? No. Did I have to go to a therapist to get over being afraid of a tiger? Probably not. I woke up and there you go. The tiger was seen as not real. Yeah, like that. And so, what else can you see? A causeless effect would mean in a real world, there'd be a cause and effect. In an imagined condition, there's causeless effects. Yeah. It's based on the subjective experience. So we can make mountains out of molehills. And when someone is caught in one of those mountains, it's as real as it real can be, even though you don't see the range at all. Even though you're sitting right next to them, they're totally flipped out and you're not, because the subjective experience is different. Just like a thought could be driving them crazy at that moment because it was held as theirs, and it doesn't have any effect on you, but the same thought held as yours would. Yeah. So is the thought, the causeless effect is us. Yes, quite a lot. Yeah, we're imagining things. And I mean literally things. And then we're imagining a lot of things about the things we're imagining. And it's dreaming. That's one of the best, the most just sense feltness I got out of the Course in Miracles was their incredible explanation of dreaming. Goes on and on about dreaming. And it says, we are the dreaming of the dreaming. It says we are the dreamer of the dreaming. I don't believe we're dreamers. So we are the dreamer of the dreaming. We forgot that. We forgot that we're the dreaming. How does that seem to happen? I would say in the act of being identified as the dreamt, you are at that moment forgetful of the dreaming, seemingly, yeah? And suddenly the whole thing changes. As soon as you forget that you're dreaming and you see the dreaming from the dreamt point of view, then everything you're dreaming now has the ability to affect you. Ah, incredible, eh? So everyone wants to find skillful means to change the effects, to shorten the effects, to sort of be able to duck at the effects. But really, the cause of the effects is the loss of the sense of being the dreaming. Yeah. Taking you to be the dreamt as real, therefore giving meaning of other dream aspects as real. And then those dreaming things now have the ability to bite your real ass. And so they do, yes? So thoughts now, in the condition that you're owning them and they're yours, they can suddenly own you. When just a lot of people, it's insane. If you've ever been in addiction, you don't have an addiction. The addiction has you. Yeah. You're not, oh, I'm going to have a smoke today. I'm going to have some addiction today. I want to try some alcoholism. No, it doesn't work that way. Something overtakes you, takes you over. Yeah. And you're not having anything. You're being had in a sense. And what allows you to be had is these hierarchical premises of you as a thing, basically. Most people's concerns are the concerns of being a body. That's why people feel great when they have an out-of-body experience, because being in the body sets up all these other things that are somewhat, or could be quite a lot, uncomfortable, irritable, unrest, and all this shit happens. Yeah. Now we want to be free from the body experience, but we want to be a body to have the experience. It doesn't work. So non-duality is not two. And like the old faith mind, we read it the other week, famous, check it out if you like. There's a good translation on the internet called Richard Clark, or was the more famous one. It's only a 2-page thing called Faith Mind, and it's attributed to the third patriarch of Zen. I think they just made that up, but it's all right. And basically, the guy goes off and just talking about, hey, the great way is not difficult unless you have opinions or this or that or thoughts. And of course, you seem to have thoughts, so now the great way is difficult. Yeah. So they're constantly saying it's truly not difficult, but, and then then it's as soon as we get there. That's why, like, the AA program is great, but there's people in it. Yeah. When you put people in anything, the great way can become difficult because of the people idea. Yes. Because how is a person that's made up by preferences stop having preferences? Now I feel, and it says that the whole thing says, oh, the great way is not difficult, but, and then they tell you, and basically everyone has failed after the first stanza. But if you see this message, which is you're not going to have a space where there's no preferences, you're going to lose interest in the one who has the preferences. Yeah. This is the non-duality way to me. The non-duality way, trying to get out of something that you're actually not in, produces an effect. Non-duality negates that effect. Yeah. So when you objectify the badness of your idea of self, it's being reviewed constantly by the goodness of self. So you're still bound to self, now critiquing the old self. Yeah. There's no out there. So in this case, this is about stop cherishing your opinions. Good luck with that. Yeah. But what happens if you're not that which is cherishing the opinions? There you go. The great way is not difficult. What? Yeah, it's not difficult. With preferences, with opinions, with this, with that. if you see you're not the one who has the preference or has the opinion or has the idea, yeah, and you're letting preferences and opinions and ideas just coagulate as they do, the great way is not difficult. Profoundly exclamation point. What makes it difficult is us trying to get on the great way. Because the great way is like one of those moving sidewalks. You've never been off it at the airport. You don't step on and you don't step off. The great way is that it's no way. That's the great way. That's why it's not difficult. Yeah. A great way here geographically could be incredibly difficult. You may have to go through Death Valley, then go up 20,000 feet, and the great way could be a winding, go through caves and catacombs. But in this case, the great way, there's no way in the great way. Yeah. So you're on a moving sidewalk. You didn't choose to get on, and you can't choose to get off. Choosing to get on and get off is part of being on. Yeah. This idea that you could have some, it could be different, is just an idea. So you can't come to peace with that, and you can come to peace with to that. That which you were taking yourself to be cannot do it. It's the difficulty of the great way. It is. The idea of you is the difficulty of the great way. And this is the beauty of non-duality. If someone said, like, so you read the St. Francis prayer, one of many of them, he says it's in self-forgetting that you're reborn. Wow, incredible. And so now, configured as a self, what you try to do is now try to forget self. But you're trying to forget self as self, you see? You can't undo the doer of it. If you're the doer of it, all the undoing of it is just reinforcing the doer of it, which is self. That's not forgetting self. Forgetting self is a loss of interest in all of it. Yeah. Could be quickly, could be slowly. Yeah. But there's a loss of interest in it. And then when that loss of interest is irrevocably going in one direction, that's the great way. You could see it. And it's not difficult. It's not difficult. Yeah. Life could be as we see it, as we hear it, as we feel it. But then we have great statements. We have it on the wall in the kitchen. This too shall pass. And everything is going to pass. And usually it passes in front of us because we don't pass. Yeah. All the different things that happen didn't happen to a different thing every second in a weird way. Yeah. They've all been pasted on this Paul Hedderman bulletin board as the story of the action figure to give it some more depth and weight. Yeah. But there is a huge story. We wanted to do a thing today where here's this void, a cartoon, the huge void, and then there was this little house with no ceiling, like a little corridor, and there was a door that said entrance, and then something came in, and it started out as a little baby and got a little bigger, and then it got to the exit and died. And then it's this, so this huge amount of space, suddenly a little of it goes in, opens, hits the entrance, goes through this process, exits, and nothing has happened. Yes, it's just a little show that you go through. Yeah, 80, 90 years, you're out, and there's nothing that was gained or lost. There's no weight change. Yeah, you're just like the wall. When you disappear, the space is not going to be a little lighter. 160 pounds less. It's not. We don't have any weight other than the mental weight that's constantly being given all day. So, I mean, this, it's a sobering effect. Hopefully it allows you to travel lighter during the day. And if it does, the lightness, traveling lighter will beget more traveling lighter. If there's time, there can be more. Yeah. And so in time, there's more traveling later. There is. You just sit with it, and day in and day out, you recognize stuff that you may have not recognized in just a day. Yeah. You recognize like the current, and we're almost like in a dry ocean, and there's currents, and the currents are pretty much patterned, like a jet stream and the Gulf Stream. And then you recognize it. You can see how the body reacts to the change of the season. My sinuses just become the Holland Tunnel, and almost like a cold, dry winter New York wind is constantly blowing up there. And I have nothing to say because I put tons of cocaine up that shit. I can't, why, how did this happen? But they're just all burnt out. And when I go from fall to winter, it's like horrendous for a couple of weeks. Yes, because it's super dry, and it's like I can see the graffiti written in there. It's just like bad. Yeah. So the body, and a lot of people affected unbelievably what they think as their individual long-lasting thing. A season change makes everything seems bleak, and shit like that. It's incredible. Yeah. How are you gonna keep owning this shit? It's such a stretch to say that reaction is your reaction. It's it is, all right, sinuses, get ready, react. No, I just find out after reaction starts. Yeah. The sinuses don't tell me, get ready. No, because I, in a fucking weird way, forget everything until it happens again. Like every time I go on a plane, I realize, fuck, why am I on this plane? But I didn't think of that before I bought the ticket. It's only when I get on the plane do I realize, why the hell am I on the plane? There's no changing it. It's just the way it is. Yeah, I'm out to lunch completely. I stumbled and bumbled through this life as an action figure, and I found great relief with non-duality. Yeah, because I wasn't going to pass the managerial test. I just don't have much oomph about things. Yeah, I used to work once. I was used to buy Buddhas in Asia. So there's the old statement, when you see the Buddha, shoot him. For me, when I saw the Buddha, I bought it. I bought the Buddha, and then I sold it here. And these people that had much bigger plans sort of took, signed up with me just to learn how I did it. And then they ixnayed me out of it quickly. And I had nothing to say because I don't have any ambition. I didn't have any ambition of growing the Buddha enterprise. Yes. Yeah. So whatever. But here we are. So the message is simple. It's not, could you imagine if it was not 40? Yeah. If you had to go through not that, not that, not that. No, it's just not two. It's very simple. And you don't have to look out. Just look in and see. See the two-ness, see the head, and the head's narrative, like it or not, has certain themes that are set in cement. And one of the big themes is what is perceiving is the perceived. So the perceived is first, and then it's doing something called perceiving. When a great master, Huang Po, set that straight, and he says, whatever can be perceived, raise each other's hands, whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceiving. Yeah. So you hear a beautiful message from the 1200s, supposedly, in this dreaming, and then you apply it right now. Look at the head. The head has the complete opposite narration theme. Yeah. And it's not yours, and you're not doing the narration. It's built in. It's like, when you buy a car, you have a sound system. You may want to upgrade it, but you get a sound system. Yeah. Here, we got a sound system. It's playing golden oldies. It does what it does. And we listen to them as somehow we have some kind of intimacy with it. Yeah. If you went into another Hyundai Electric, it would have the same fucking sound system. So yes. So not two. What is not to? Not subject, not object. What? So a lot of people start at, I'm not an object, and therefore I'm the subject, but this is really a negation of both poles, yeah? Because even if you are the subject or subjectivity, you'd rather just find out, start at nothing and see what happens, yeah? Yeah, if you start at nothing, there's no number that has to be undone or subtracted or anything or added to, just nothing. And just see where you go. And I'll tell you, for me, I'm completely dumbfounded by most topics in life. I run into a ceiling and it's just a giant question mark. I have no idea what the hell's going on. But when it comes to spending any moment, any time looking for what I already am, never. Yeah, never. Any moment, the head doesn't even present it anymore. I never believe I'm out of any moment I'm in. Never. I don't believe I could be somewhere else or something else could be happening. Yeah. My rule for if it was supposed to happen, it did. And if it wasn't supposed to happen, it didn't. So that's simple, keeps it clean. And the action figure doesn't have to be weighed down with this shit. And now it's concerned about how many biscottis are left in my little box. And then I got pumpkin pie here and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Anyone to share or ask anything?
Thank you,
If the
Paul.
person, all right. One last thing, just for the basic of the mechanics is the mental activity is claiming what conscious contact brings us to meet, so to speak. Yeah. It's claiming it and it's using it. So it claims all the verbing to imply there's a noun. And it wouldn't be so bad if the verbing still stayed at number one and the noun was number two, but it presupposes the number two noun to be before the number one verb. So now it's you doing all this shit and you being done to by all this stuff. Yes? And those pairs of glasses, which are bifocals, is the eyes need those pair of glasses, these bifocals, to that's the assemblage of self-centeredness. Yeah. There's the awareness that's seeing, and then these pair of glasses have now cast from the head's point of view that the awareness is looking. So now you're going to use the awareness to look for things, and you're going to use the awareness to look for awareness if you get into spirituality. So you're going to use what you are to look for what you are. Yeah. And the only difference is you're calling seemingly the awareness that seems to be around you as looking, when all awareness is seeing. It's not looking at anything. Yeah. Awareness doesn't see things, I don't believe, in a sense. Awareness is like a field. Yeah. But when we sort of seem to direct it or think we direct it, we're now using it as looking. So what's looking is actually seeing. Yeah. So what's looking is what you're looking for. So if you stop looking for it, you would see that you're the seeing of it, or you're the seeing as it. Yeah. Yeah. And then once again, the great way would not be difficult. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Paul. Craig May has his virtual hand up.
Craig May.
Hmm?
I thought we said we were going to mute him for a couple months. Oh, sorry, a couple of months.
Oh,
I thought he was on a suspension. All right. It's okay, Kathy. I'll talk to you
starting
later.
next month.
Make sure you call me after the meeting, Kathleen. No, go on, Craig. Joking. I'm joking.
I wanted
Craig?
to share.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, bro? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just let me get my bearings. I want to say what I want to say. Let me share with you my morning. When I was this morning, we live in a building that's just outside where I'm sitting. There's a busy road. So it's traffic always going down that road. It makes a lot of noise, traffic noise. Anyway, this morning I was out front of our building in the garden. There's a bit of lawn out there. And I was pulling weeds out of the lawn. So I was about 3 or 4 meters away from the road and the traffic, which is noisy. Now, when I was out there pulling the weeds out, I didn't hear that traffic. I didn't hear a fucking thing. What I heard was just like silence. But it's the silence. It's like the peace that passeth all understanding. This silence is like that. All I heard, I was pulling it out of the grass, was like that was silence.
We're losing you a little, Craig.
Um,
We're losing you a little.
you can't hear me? Or
Anyway, is everyone else having it?
it might be.
Yeah.
Can you
We're
hear me
getting
now?
weed and then something, I don't know. And then we're losing you.
Yeah, he was cutting out a little.
Try it again, though. We'll see. If I go like this, means we're not hearing you.
A second.
He disappeared.
Where'd he go? He's gone.
Yeah, let's anyway.
Okay, Heather, come on in, hon.
He disappeared.
Oh, there he is.
The long weed.
That's right. You were pulling weeds near the road, and something else was pulling, and you're the weed, and there you go. Yes. Are you? Yes, I think we lost him again. Craig, come on.
Oh, I
Stop
thought
pulling weeds.
I thought we were gonna let Heather come in, but you
I'll
tell
let Heather, and we'll come back to Craig. Hopefully,
that's what I thought we were doing too. Okay, come on, Heather.
you do what you're doing. Oh, Heather, our magician. There she is.
Yes.
Nice to see you.
I have one question and a second question that I may not ask because I don't know that it'll be skillful. But the first question is for some reason, I never am able to get that which is perceiving cannot be perceived. I can't, can you think of a metaphor, that could help me get that one?
I'm going to explain it again. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Right now, you're seeing me in the Zoom. You're seeing a body, yes?
Yeah.
That body is part of the perceived.
I am perceiving you. Yes.
Yes, you are perceiving me. You are. Yeah. Now the you that represents the you is this idea of a body. Yeah? So I'm looking at you as a body and I'm perceiving that body. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's perceiving going on, but we've just recognized we're both the perceived. Yeah.
That I'm perceiving you and you're perceiving me.
Yes, and we're both the perceived. So we're not actually perceiving. There's perceiving of us, but the us that thinks it's perceiving is that which is being perceived. Yeah. Ah, you got it? Great.
No, I don't get it. Sorry.
All right, here we go again. But close. I saw it. There was an opening.
I was trying so hard.
Try hard. That's good because that will fail. It's great. No, really. Try as hard as you can. So you're seeing everyone who's seeing you right now, you would be to them the perceived. Yeah.
Yes.
Because the act of perceiving usually has the object that's perceived. Yes.
Act of perceiving usually has the object of which is perceived. The act of perceiving usually has the object of that which is perceived.
Yeah, so perceiving is perceiving an object.
Right.
I'm perceiving, I'm recognizing you. Yes, you're appearing as a body, let's say. So the act of perceiving, you are at the end of it, called the perceived. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sit there as the perceived. Now, the act of perceiving seemed to happen, but your head thinks it was you that was perceiving. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Perceiving
Yeah.
happened and my head thinks it was me.
Exactly, the me that can be perceived.
That's where you lose me for some reason. So I don't know why you lose me at that one. I was good up to there.
Because the me that thinks it's perceiving thinks it's a me, a thing perceived. It's an object.
Yeah.
The me is represents the subject being seen as an attribute, as an object. And this is why you're having difficulty, and we all have difficulty, because the way the system feels when there's perceiving is that it's the one perceiving. But in fact, it's the one perceived. It's sort of like in AA, people have the feeling they're the driver, but they're actually the driven. Yeah. And
So
they go,
I can-
what? I thought I was the driver. Yes, I know. This is the failedness of the system. It thinks it's the driver while being the driven. So here, there's perceiving. That's happening. Perceiving is happening. Yeah. And when perceiving is happening, it runs into the perceived. Yeah. So I see Amelia here, my lovely perceived. Yep. But that thing that I'm perceiving as Amelia, calling it that, is not that which is perceiving, because the perceiving is not embodied. Yeah. It's not a thing. Yeah. Perceiving doesn't have eyelashes and an eyelid, or yes. So the head has the act of perceiving, which is our subjectiveness. Yeah. The subjectiveness of us, or the subjectivity of us, as an attribute the object has. Yeah. So all day we're perceiving, and we believe the body that I take myself to be is that which is perceiving. And it's a mistake, that's all. So, and it's a mistake that lends its mistake onto everything you perceive. So while there's a lot of perceiving going on, that perceiving is being used to reinforce the idea that the perceived is what's perceiving. Yes? And in time, repetition is one of the main levers of the magic trick. Yeah. So all day you're perceiving things, and the subtle assumption is that you're a thing that can perceive other things, when your things cannot be that which is perceiving. So it's it's like the pre kindergarten class that will go with you every school day of your life. Yeah. Notice the head, when perceiving's going on, believes Tommy, Hiram, Ali, Lola, Amelia, Paul, Mia. Yeah, it's seeing them, and it believes at that moment they are the perceived. But at the same moment, from Mia's point of view, I'm the perceived. Yeah. So I'm thinking I'm perceiving Mia, but Mia's perceiving that thing that is thinking it's perceiving Mia. And Hoang Po is saying, that's not true. Whatever can be perceived cannot be that which is perceiving. It's very simple, yeah? Super clear. And it doesn't change ever. It's just a very clear declaration. There's no amendments or commentary on it. It's very direct. Whatever can be perceived, which is happening all day, cannot be that which is perceiving. There you go. So what you are is a huge question mark. Who the hell knows what you are? But you can know what you're not. This is the important point of non-duality, is to know what you're not, because then you'll find out what you are. Because it's a living, breathing, non-living, non-breathing. It's beyond any way the action figure could capture it or comprehend it. Yeah. So you live in it's like an open door policy. You have no fucking idea, but the back door is open. And when shit comes in and hangs out, then something, you may be informed of stuff, or you may not be informed of stuff, or you may be used to inform others. Yeah. But it's a very beautiful statement that cuts the weeds before you start picking the weeds, like Craig was saying. This cuts the weeds down to the root. There's no picking it. Yeah, so nice to see you, honey. I hope that helps and stuff.
Really does. It does. Thank you for your time. I appreciate that. You escaped the matrix.
Hmm? This is my view. I could be wrong. This is just how I see it. Yeah. I mean, but if I'm wrong, I've got a great certainty about how wrong I am. I must, because I feel pretty certain it's a good diagnosis of that statement. Yeah. It's just the way it hit me. Yeah. And it hasn't changed, so I figure it's pretty close. Yeah. These are the little
Hey.
tricks. See, if you see these little tricks, the magic trick, the trick isn't that slick. It's we're out to lunch makes it get away with it. When you start just observe with a modicum of, I don't mean of interest, it's seen through quite easily what's going on. There's nothing to do about it in a way, but you're left with that exposure, and then see where it takes you. Yeah, I believe the effect here will be a traveling lighter, not based on you having 800 skillful means instead of 300 skillful means, but you may not need a skillful mean. You may be able to travel sufficiently light that you don't need to try to travel light. Yeah. And I think, what more do you want for this short period of time you have left? Or if you're like me, a shorter period of time. Yeah. All right. So we'll go to Craig. We'll come back to the garden of Craig and get down there, start pulling those weeds.
Can you hear me now?
I can, yeah.
All righty. You know, I was just sitting here now listening. Well, not really listening, because non-duality is not in the words. It's in the space between the words. And you can feel that listening to it. It's not in the words. Words don't say shit. They say nothing. The space that the words appear in says it all. It says it all. When I was down in that garden this morning pulling weeds, it was so fucking quiet. And I'm right next to a road with heavy traffic on it. That silence is not being silent, or it to be silent. Hope that makes sense.
Yes, of course, bro.
I don't know if you've heard of Thomas Merton, but Thomas Merton was a monastic monk. He went into a monastery when he was very young in the hills.
Thomas Merton, yes.
Yeah, he went into a monastery when he was really young in the hills of Kentucky, and he basically spent his whole life in that monastery. He lived in a hermitage towards the end of his life by himself. But anyway, he was well known because he used to write. He wrote books that were well received, and he had a profile. And Merton used to express himself in any way he could. He used to paint these beautiful Zen paintings. He used to write poetry. But where he excelled, I think, he was given a camera in the latter part of his life. He knew nothing about photography. And he would wander through those hills in Kentucky and take these beautiful black and white analog photographs of the most inconspicuous things. He would photograph the weeds crawling up a barn, the wall of a barn. He would take a photograph of a silhouetted tree with the broken and dead branches of it sitting at the base. He would take photographs of things like the way the sun reflected off a watering can on the patio of his hermitage. This guy knew, he saw, and these photographs are haunting. And they're haunting because I think what he was photographing and what he captured in those photographs was silence. That's what he captured. If you look at a Merton photograph, I reckon you'll have one of two reactions to it. You'll either look at it and you'll think it's a chair sitting in the sun with the shadow of a tree. What's the big deal? I don't get it. Or you might look at it and it'll tug something in you. It'll tug something in you. And I reckon what that is, it's the silence in the photograph speaking to the silence that you are. It's like what happens here with these satsangs. When the Buddha speaks to the Buddha, when the Buddha gets through to the Buddha. And silence is that powerful because everything here is after, everything. Silence is before. Silence is before. And what we are is before. We're before. So there's that beautiful fucking exchange you have with that silence. Meister Eckhart, I think, calls it the ground of being, the Grund in the German. That's where he refers to it. I think that's what he's referring to when he says, he mentions the ground of being. But, you know, words, I like words. I like the artistry of words. You know, like I love poets and I like to read Meister Eckhart's sermons and things like that. But none of it gets anywhere near what that silence says. Truly, what that silence says. No one can get near it. The great poets, Dante, you know, St. John of the Cross, they're profound, but they can't touch. They cannot touch what that silence says. They can't fucking touch it. And it's there. It's right there in that silence, in the silence. It's there. It's a mystery. It's so fucking mysterious. You can't pin it down. You can't grasp it. You can't find it. You can't, none of that. It's completely elusive. Completely elusive. It's just a mystery. It's a fucking beautiful mystery. The other thing I wanted to just mention briefly is the beauty of innocence. The other day I was about to go out for a walk. I grabbed my hat and I was heading out and it started to rain. And then it started to pour. So I just went inside and I waited for the rain to stop and it poured rain for about half an hour. And then it stopped, just stopped. I grabbed my hat and I went out. I don't know if you've ever, at the end of like a heavy downpour like that, there's not a breath of wind or air or breeze, it's just still. And all the vegetation and trees are just like on their tippy toes. And the colours are just fucking mesmerising. I went through this park and the green of the grass and the green of the tree were shimmering against one another. Just fucking beautiful. But anyway, I went a bit further on and there's this dog, a German Shepherd sitting at the base of a tree. and it was looking up. And it was looking up at a bird in the tree. And it was like this dog had never seen a bird before. It was absolutely mesmerized. And what it was doing, it was getting up on its hind legs and it was jumping. It was trying to jump. It was like it was looking at the bird up in the tree and it said, how the fuck did you get up there? If you got up there, I should be able to get up there as well. And it was on its hind legs and it was trying to launch itself up into the tree. It was beautiful to watch. Then the bird took off. And the eyes of the dog just fucking went whoosh. He couldn't believe it. And he was running and he was looking at the bird and he was trying to launch himself. This dog was trying to launch himself into the air. He thought, how the fuck do you do that? If you can do that, I should be able to do it as well. And he was launching himself. Then the bird disappeared and the dog stopped. He just stopped right in front of me. And he was looking at the bird, and the look on his face, that it was just mesmerizing because he was looking at that bird flying, and he was just thinking, that's fucking unreal. How the fuck do you do that? The innocence of that was just beautiful to behold. It really was. It was just so gorgeous.
Craig,
Yeah, bro.
I think he wanted to eat the bird. He wanted to catch the fucker.
Oh,
Maybe that's what I saw.
But I think you should go down and take some pictures of the weeds and then bring that portfolio back next week. Yeah. Get some pictures. All right. Thank you, Craig. It's always a pleasure to go into Craig's corner. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Nice to see you.
You too, mate.
Yeah. Anyone else?
David and Natalie had their hand up, but I'm not sure where he is now. David Bitterman, I think it is.
Oh yeah, no, I had raised my hand earlier when the previous questioner was talking. There was a little passage out of that book that I sent you, Paul,
Oh, you
that I
did?
was going to share, but it was
share it,
in
bro.
what's that?
Go ahead, share it.
Okay, here I'm going to step away because I think I have two computers on right now. That book I sent you was the Bodhidharma.
Yes, I have that.
Yeah. So it says, let me see where I'm going to start. So I'll try and make it brief, but he says, in India, the 27 patriarchs only transmitted the imprint of this mind. And the only reason I've come to China is to transmit the instantaneous teaching of this mind. This mind is the Buddha. I'm going to skip ahead. Oh, shoot, I lost my page. Hang on one second.
I think you could just stay with that.
Here it goes.
All right.
Just stay with that.
Yeah, just hear it. Yeah, just what was
No.
said it.
Absolutely. But he says, let's see, once you recognize your moving, miraculously aware nature, yours is the mind of all Buddhas. Buddhas of past and future only talk about transmitting the mind. They teach nothing else. If someone understands this teaching, even if he's illiterate, he's a Buddha. If you don't see your own miraculously aware nature, you'll never find a Buddha, even if you break your body into atoms. The Buddha is your real body, your original mind. This mind has no form or characteristics, no cause or effect, no tendons or bones. It's like space. You can't hold it. It's not the mind of materialists or nihilists, except for a Tathagata or enlightened one. No one else, no mortal, no deluded being can fathom it. But this mind isn't somewhere outside the material body of four elements. Without this mind, we can't move. The body has no awareness. Like a plant or a stone, the body has no nature. So how does it move? It's the mind that moves. And he goes on to break that down further, but
The big M mind, yes.
yes, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, and just as Craig was saying, one thing I would have put in there is the presence isn't there, it's here.
Yes.
I mean, silence. So the silence is here. It's not
yes.
there. Because then there it becomes a thing.
Yes.
And then once you enter something as a thing, you're going to be excluded.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and it's actually funny, in the following two paragraphs, he goes into exactly that point.
Oh, does he? Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, to me, it's that we start in time. Yes?
Yes, we
Word
as a,
that we speak out on the tongue is of time. And that which we are is before time.
yes,
So the best, I feel, the best way to use what we are appearing as right now is as a form of negation, to see you're not this.
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, very
Yes,
direct.
because if not, the emphasis here is on this so much, you're gonna try to be not this as a this.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, do you see it?
Oh yeah, and I've
It's so
seen it
fast.
chasing its tail of it. Yeah.
The not this it always has this value. And it will say, it will try to become a not this as the not this. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
you see the utter futility of any movement. Any movement is like 10,000 miles, any
Yep.
this and that. And so you realize all the equipment that this has is pointless to finding what you already are. It's about finding what you're not here. Get something, this and this. So we're gonna look at that and just see the complete futility of it. And in that futility is a hallelujah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so there's no exemption or any little crack in the door. It just becomes there's a convincing that you don't have to dye the cloth anymore, the DYE. It's dyed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
pointless to keep soaking it in. It sucked all that it needed to suck up to be black. So in negation, it's the negation is the instantaneous affirmation of what you are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because you are the seeing, the instantaneous awareness of what you're not. That's the closest. If you were talking about taking a picture of you, of what you really were here, that's the closest picture you can take.
Yeah.
The reflection or the bounce that would come from seeing what you're not. Because at that moment, what's really being emphasized is not what you're not, but it's the awareness, and you are the awareness. Most of the time, what you're not is constantly being emphasized. Yeah?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
constantly, even when non-dualities, the people want to be they want to be a non-self as a self. So the emphasis is mechanical. And so in this case, when you see what you're not, because it's not you, there's a loss of emphasis, and then the emphasis is on the awareness of it. That's you. Yeah. So
Beautiful.
the emphasis of this place, and what is this place? This place is meaningless, and then every meaning is given to it, and one aspect of meaning is emphasis. And finally, here at one moment in your life, the emphasis is not on you, it's on the awareness of you, because you've heard a message that you may not be you, and suddenly there's enough migration of interest and attention, and it goes to the awareness of that moment, not that which is becoming aware of. Yeah, which is always getting sucked to there. It's always getting sucked to that which you're aware of, meaning this, what you are is aware of this. And then this is now seen as the one who's aware. It's ridiculous in a lot of ways. But it's so fast, and we start at a manufactured point. Yeah. So to get out of it is being in it. If you try to get out of the manufactured point, you're reinforcing the reality of the manufactured point. This is what has to collapse. This whole building of seeking has to collapse, and recognizing, yes, you start as the finished product. Every thought has been held as a you already. Yeah. And all you can see with that is maybe I can be a not you. Yeah. This is losing interest in it. And then the interest is on the awareness. And instead of what's being, it's on the being. Yeah. What's being ain't being. It's a manufactured narrative, yeah? It's like an action figure. It's like a wind-up toy, yeah? The being is of the awareness. And all you need is a little whack where suddenly your life, the life emphasis has shifted from things to no thing. Yeah, because your center is not a thing anymore. You've lost a sufficient amount of interest to move out of thingness emphasized to a non-thing emphasized. Yeah, and that's what serves you. There's just way too much emphasis on the thing, obviously. Yes, it does quite well when, like, what do you call that? The foam on the beer gets blown off. There's no alcohol in that foam. There's nothing. It's just foam. Just blow it off, and then you get to the real drink. We're just fucking thinking we need all this foam. The body will do a lot better when you're not the body. It really will. Like Donna was saying, I look young, or I look just like I used to look. Because I don't look, I was never how I used to look. That's why I keep looking at it that way. That's why I keep looking that way, because I never was that way I was looking. This is what happens. So, yes, the emphasis has already been imprinted. You can't unemphasize it, because that's another emphasizing it. Yeah, you admit the great wisdom of no escape, and that's the escape. Yes, it doesn't fit our logic, thank God. It doesn't. It's not like you can't make sense of it, thank God. But you can actually feel its effects and come to a different conclusion than the head's conclusion, and you could be thoroughly convinced of shit that is constantly trying to debate up there. Yes. Yes. So there you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Cole.
Yes. So you read the first sentence was completely it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Transmission. This is mind transmitting. What is mind transmitting? There's only mind. There's no one it's transmitting to. It's not transmitting from anywhere. It's just mind's transmission to mind. Yeah. Yeah. And then the play starts with time. And here we are. And you know what? Don't you forget most of what happened today when you go to sleep. You don't think you're going to have a complete forgetting when you pass away. Give me a break. Yes, Jesus Christ. You're going to see all your monumentalness was nothing. Yes. All these people that there's addictions, and some I've never been near. And they remember where they used to talk about power, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I've never tasted that addiction. Yeah, but it seems to be a big player in this streaming. And it has the same end as every other fucking addiction. Yes, yeah. So yeah. Come back if you like, sit here with us. Yes, you're gonna live up the ass, osmosis. You just sit here and start saying things get clearer without you trying to get them clearer. Yeah, that's the way it goes. So if you want to join, if you don't, fine, doesn't matter. It's one, I need someone other than Amelia. She doesn't want to hear me anymore. So I gotta come to the Zoom. Yeah, so I need you. I mean, the bird needs someone to hear its song. I need you. This is a nice outlet. My head would be like a marathon runner in a closet. It just can't, it needs a little bit of free ranging. And non-duality allows it to come off the rails and just go off. Yes. I'll be put back in the box in about a half an hour.
Then it's pudding time.
All right, so hey, I think that's it unless we have another question.
I don't
Today
think we
was a
have.
rousing evening. We had Craig May, we had all this stuff going on. Yeah.
Really nice. It was a really nice evening together.
Yes.
Paul, thank you.
Yes,
Last night you said something about maybe we come back just because we like you. I think I just like hanging out here with all of you guys. It's knowing those people are sitting in the living room and just like being here with all us together. It's nothing
yes,
like it.
thanks, huh? Yes, I know, it is, it has a, I have to admit it, you know, I had a prior opinion of Zoom before we started, and once again, I've been proven wrong, which is happens constantly, which was really cool. Yeah, yeah.
I think many of us
Well, I
had,
would still rather see everyone live. I literally would, but this is the next best thing. Yeah.
absolutely.
All right, Kathleen. Thank you. I'm going to say goodbye. Donna, such a pleasure to see you
Good to
again.
see you, Paul. Yeah, thanks so
Drop in there,
much.
yeah, drop in more.
Love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will do. Yeah.
William, up in the great Northwest. Christy, nice to see Chris. Yes. Gary Clark, my man in Placerville. Nice to see you, Gary. Feeling good? Yeah, great. Fantastic. James Olson. He has come to peace with he's never gonna get it. Very nice. Yeah. David. Yes, that's right. David, nice to see you. Mr. Mack, Stephen Mack. Nice to see you. Craig May, as always. We got Jim Elliott. Yes, nice to see you, Jim. Eric P. from Vista. We got Heather, our resident magician. Very nice. David and Natalie, nice to see you. And we'll be here tomorrow, excuse me. And if you don't know, all the Zooms are on Zen Bitch Slap event page, same Zoom room, no password. Room usually gets open 10 minutes before. Buckle up and take a ride. See you later. Bye-bye.
Night night. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thanks,
you.
Paul.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks,
Kathleen.
Paul.
Thanks,
you, bro. Yeah.
Paul. Great talk. Thanks, Kathleen.